What was the last straw for you in that one relationship? You know, the one where you knew you had to get out.
Relationship,
I'll go first.
I feel like was meant for me. It was meant for me to experience that relationship to push me more into my spiritual journey.
Yeah.
That was my last straw.
Yes. Yes.
That was my last straw to where, you know, even though I had my setbacks or whatever, that was my last straw with me, like, playing games with my life and testing the waters and just
see some shit,
we can try it. That was my last straw. It made me more serious.
I was married to a conventionally nice guy for over 12 years. And that's exactly why my marriage eventually collapsed. Let me be clear, not all nice men are bad men. Nice paired with strength, initiative, and responsibility can be really beautiful. But nice on its own is where women get trapped. Yeah,
Hi ladies. Hi. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new to this channel, my name is Miss Kafue and I'm excited to do yet another video. Thank you for your support. Thank you. I don't know whether by now, by the time this video will be up, we'll have hit 50k, but I'm assuming we've hit 50k. So thank you for this support. We are halfway to 100k subscribers. Thank you. I don't take this for granted. So hey, back to the topic of this video. Ladies, what was the last straw in your marriage or your relationship or your situationship, whatever that was? What was the last straw, or your friendship? Like, though we are talking about relationships here, what was the last straw for you? Hey, let me tell you, this video gets juicy. It gets so interesting, especially towards the end. It gets so nice. So I would want you to watch the whole video. Please don't get tired quickly. Just sit down. Watch it without a hurry. You'll enjoy the video. The clips at the end are the most interesting ones and don't miss them. So without further ado, let's jump right into this video and then I'll be back to give my take on it.
He told me I was boring, so I left him. 7 years together, a mortgage, 2 kids, a whole load of abuse. I put up with an awful lot. And then he told me one night when we went on a very rare date night that I was too boring to come and sit at a table with. He would rather stand at the bar and talk to the person behind the bar than come and sit and have a chat with me on a date night. And so on that evening, I left him. Decided it was done. We were over. It was the straw that broke the camel's back. It wasn't like it had been a great relationship for a really long time. And I didn't take the decision lightly. But it was the final thing that just broke me. And I was like, no. Do you know what? And it wasn't because of what he said specifically. It was more that it just showed he had no idea who I was. He didn't understand me. He couldn't see any of the value that I offered. And it was a one-sided relationship. So what was the point of being in it? I wasn't getting anything out of it at all. And I'm pretty sure he wasn't either. So it was done. That was it. I forgave all of the stuff that he'd done, all the violence, all of the abuse, all of the bad behaviour. And I left. And it took a little while to extract myself, because anybody who's left a domestic violence or domestic abuse situation knows that those patterns run deep, right? But hey, that was the first big step. I got out. If you're in a situation like that, where you're in a relationship where you're not happy in it, you don't have to put up with it either. There are other ways of living and working things out where you don't have to sacrifice your soul for somebody else.
What was the last straw for you in that one relationship? You know, the one where you knew you had to get out. I'll go first. So we took a couples trip to New York. My best friend, our mutual friend from college, his cousin, and of course me and my significant other. The trip started off kind of rocky, but he was one of those people that said what was on his mind, no filter. And I mean no filter. We were at dinner or lunch one day when he decided at the table that he was going to talk about my weight and what I look like the entire time. He thought that everybody was going to laugh with him, but no, it was so awkward and quiet at that table. So I left him the next day. I went on a tour with my friends. And when I came back, he went shopping and thought that was going to make up for it. As soon as that flight touched, I left him. And
when God shows you that somebody is not good for you and you continue to pursue them, he is going to have that person hurt you so bad that the only option would be to leave. Let that sink in. Part 7 of when I realized I was married to a narcissist, and this is going to be the day that I left. The day started out great, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't waiting for the other shoe to drop, because every time there was a good day, at the end of it was not good. And that's exactly what happened. He parked the car in an illegal spot, and all I said was, "Hey honey, we can't park here, we're gonna have to move. This is not a parking spot." And he continues to just walk on in, and I'm like, "Hey, we can't park here." He storms back into the car, slams the door, throws the keys, and says, "This is exactly why I can never do anything with you. You always ruin it." Then he proceeded to call me a effing bitch. And I thought, this man just called me an effing bitch because I told him that he could not park the car in an illegal parking spot, saving my car from getting towed, saving us from getting a DUI. And I'm a fucking bitch. And I remember I looked at him and I said, "I am fucking done." And that car ride was a 45-minute car ride. And I told him exactly how I felt, how bad I watched him literally break me to where I didn't even know myself anymore. And when I got home, I jumped in the shower and I turned it on the coldest water. And I remember I just broke. I broke in a way that I never broke before. I knew I was done. I knew that was God's plan, that man finally broke me so bad that all I could do was leave. And it took everything that I had to stay gone. It tested everything. He tested everything. He tried so hard to make me feel guilty. That was January 26th is when I left. I filed divorce papers in 5 days after 10 years, because when I was done, I was done.
Relationship, I feel like, was meant for me. It was meant for me to experience that relationship, to push me more into my spiritual journey.
Yeah.
That was my last straw.
Yes. Yes.
That was my last straw to where, you know, even though I had my setbacks or whatever, that was my last straw with me, like, playing games with my life and testing the waters and just
trying to see some shit.
We can try it. That was my last straw. It made me more serious.
I went through the exact same thing. Well, not exact same thing, but the last relationship, situationship, whatever, that I was in, that was the last time too.
Yeah, it was your last straw.
Oh man. Oh yeah. That was my last time. I realized that I did not want to play any games and that I was actually serious about finding a real true partner.
Yeah, that was the difference.
That was the difference.
It made me kind of excited when he said that.
Oh.
That was the difference.
No, yeah.
That I had already been through so much and was already on the path of, you know, self and spirituality. I had already started like tapping into stuff like that, and I chose a person who wasn't there yet, and I wanted him to be there so badly. Here's this, you know, this helped me.
I did that too.
Read this book.
Yes, I did that too. I did that too. In my head I was like, I'm about to get him to do this, I'm about to get him to do that, I'm about to get him to do that. I love a project. He's gonna be my project.
Exactly.
And he's gonna be exactly what I need him to be, and it's gonna be perfect because I'm raising him as if I'm his fucking mother.
Oh yeah. Yes, I was trying to raise him.
I was trying to raise him.
I know all this information. That was my problem. I started finding out all this information and feeling all these feelings, seeing all these things, and then I wanted to share them with people. Oh, I need me a man to share this with who's gonna understand. I need me a man.
But we was dealing with boys.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's deep, deep, deep.
Putting our energy into places we were not appreciated.
But you know what?
I was married to a conventionally nice guy for over 12 years. And that's exactly why my marriage eventually collapsed. Let me be clear, not all nice men are bad men. Nice paired with strength, initiative, and responsibility can be really beautiful. But nice on its own is where women get trapped. Here are 5 green flags I thought meant safety that were actually warning signs. Number 1, he's easygoing. It sounds very peaceful. It feels safe at first. But over time, easygoing can mean passive and absent. No initiation, no decisions, no strong opinions, no leadership. He just adapted to whatever I chose and life kept moving. But that initial pace quickly turns into pressure because in the long run, someone still has to steer the ship. Otherwise, we all sink. Number 2, he doesn't argue or push back. Early on, this feels like emotional maturity, but disagreement isn't really conflict and silence isn't wisdom. When a man never pushes back, you end up pushing everything forward by yourself. Number 3, he's flexible with whatever I choose. This looks supportive, but real partnership isn't one person choosing and the other person agreeing. That's not collaboration. That's quiet absence, because floating along like a plastic bag in the river is not it. And number 4, he is kind and sweet. Kindness is important, but kindness without initiative becomes emotional labor for the woman. You start planning everything, deciding everything, managing everything, carrying the future all in your head. And kindness doesn't compensate for the lack of responsibility. And number 5, there's no chaos and no drama. This fooled me the longest. Because I had healed from chaos, I mistook low friction for stability. But calm without direction is just drift. And drift will exhaust a woman faster than any conflict ever will. Here's the truth most women won't say out loud. A woman doesn't live because a man is too much. She lives because she is doing too much for the both. What I thought made him a good partner slowly made him passive. Long-term loves need more than niceness. It needs initiative, decision-making, accountability, and a real spine. Partnership isn't about floating together. It's all about building a life with someone who is willing to step forward. And I learned this the hardest way possible.
Oh, you guys aren't even ready for this story. The final straw in my marriage. I feel like I get asked this question all the time. And final straw in my marriage, let me paint you a picture here. So my ex and I, we met at work and we were accountants together. We both literally studied finance and we worked in accounting. And then I transitioned my career. I did something else, but when we were married, I was like trying to talk to him about our finances, and he would get so mad. Like he didn't want to talk about finances. He would like yell at me if I brought it up. And he would be like, "You're just like, don't trust me." And like, I'm like, "No, I'm trying to talk to you about like our future." And literally we're legally tied. Like, why can't we talk about our finances? And also preamble, like before we got married, I would talk to him a little bit about finances and like it wasn't as bad. And then once we were married, that's when he got a lot more hostile when I would like bring it up. So the plan was when we got married, like, okay, we're just gonna leave everything separate until he has his like student loans paid off. And that was his reasoning. Like, I don't want to combine finances because I don't want to have this debt on you. Anyway, I was like, okay, that's fine. We'll keep our finances separate. For, you know, the time being, maybe we'll get like a joint bank account at some point. And so I just like got this gut feeling because he got more and more secretive about money. And I just had this gut feeling. I was like, something's not right. Something's not right. So I was like so scared to bring it up because every time I brought it up again, he would yell at me and like literally punish me. He would like give me silent treatment or just like yell and then be in a horrible mood. So I brought up, hey, like, can we kind of like sit down and look at like our bank accounts together? And I somehow got it out of him that he accumulated $15,000 in credit card debt while we've been married, which in the state we lived in, Colorado, and California, which is where I live now, when you accumulate debt after your marriage, it's both parties are liable, even if your finances are separate. So I'm like, what the actual fuck? I've also loaned him money all the time. I've loaned him money all the time throughout our marriage. I'm very responsible with money. I'm very like good at being frugal in the areas that I need to be frugal in, and then like spending money where it matters to me. And you know, I'm like, if we literally met in accounting, like nothing could go wrong. What could go wrong? Famous last words. So yeah, found out he accumulated $15,000 in credit card debt. Guys, it gets worse. So I find out that first of all, he tells me, oh, I have a little bit of credit card debt. And I'm like, okay, how much is it? Like, I'm upset you didn't tell me, but like, we'll get through it. I can loan you the money so that you can like pay off the credit card debt and then you can pay me back. And he's like, yeah, it's $5,000. And I was like, oh my gosh, okay. Like, you know, $5,000, that's like a lot, but it's also not that much. So like, we'll be fine. I can lend you the money and then you can pay me back. And he got so mad at me. Like, he turned it on me. He was like, okay, wait, let me continue the story. Sorry, I have ADHD. I'm like, okay, $5,000, not that bad. Like, can I see your bank account? Can I see the credit card statement? And he was like, no. And I was like, okay, well, like, I kind of don't trust you because you didn't tell me about this credit card debt. So like, I need you to show me. I'm literally married to you. So this is also my debt. So this is my business. This is my problem. I need you to show me. He wouldn't show me. He was freaking out. He threw a fit. This was the biggest temper tantrum he's ever had in our whole marriage. You know, this was when I found out that he was just like lying to me about stuff. And he was just so evil to me when I found out about this credit card debt, which is crazy. But I finally was like, okay, I need you to show me the amount. Like, I was very adamant. I was like, I need you to show me this. Like, I even threatened. I was like, I will like literally divorce you if you don't be honest if you're not honest with me. It's like, fine. So he shows me the bank account, $15,000 in credit card debt. So he was lying. And oh my God, I was so upset. I started crying. And then he was like, this is your fault because when we first started dating, like, think about all the times that you were like, that I couldn't trust you. Like, you were always flirting with other men. You always liked other men more than me. And like, you know, I just feel like I couldn't even trust you and be honest with you. Like, literally make it make sense. None of it made any sense. I think he was like, actually, like, this was the biggest crash out I've ever seen in the world, like bigger than Jax Taylor on Vanderpump Rules. And yeah, he like went and sat in his car after I found out about his $15,000, and he gave me the silent treatment. He wouldn't talk to me. It was horrible. He made my life hell after that. Mind you, this was 10 months before I was actually able to get away. And I have more stories, lots more stories to share about how I like got out and kind of what happened after this, because there's so much lore. But yeah, can you guys fucking believe that?
There are painful truths your wife won't say out loud until she's close to leaving. And the first is that she stopped feeling emotionally safe long before she stopped loving you. Women don't fall out of love first. That's almost never the case. They fall out of safety. She's likely been carrying the emotional weight of the relationship alone, and each time you brushed something off, she learned to stop coming to you. Eventually, she felt alone next to you, and loneliness inside of marriage? That's hard. That hits harder than loneliness when you're actually alone. She's tired of explaining the same needs because every time she speaks from her heart, you hear it as criticism. And the hardest truth is that she didn't want a different man. She wanted you to become the man you told her that you would be. Most men wake up only when their wife stops fighting, but silence isn't peace. Silence is the funeral of connection. If you want to save the marriage, stop listening for her words and start noticing when she becomes absent.
What's the last straw that caused you to break up? I'll go first. There was one day I came home. By the way, I was working 2 jobs and he had 0 jobs. There was a flyer on the floor outside the house. You know, those kind they put in your door, and when you open the door, it flies down. So I decided not to pick it up. I just went in, and I actually fell sick, so I didn't leave the house for 4 days. When I left the house, after 4 days, can we all guess what was on the floor outside the house? Do you all guess? Do you all guess what's on the floor? At that point, he obviously had been in and out of the house, buy food to go to the gym, and the goddamn flyer was still there. And in that moment, I realized that if this was our house, and we stayed there for like 10 years, 20 years, the flyer would still be there. If I didn't pick it up, if the wind didn't blow it away, if whoever who visits didn't pick it up, he would never have picked it up. Unless I explicitly told him to do so. He convinced me that if I don't communicate, he wouldn't know what I'm thinking. I was not only his girlfriend, I was his mother, his therapist, his social media manager, and his sugar mommy. So that was my last straw. A flyer on the floor. This picture, I still have in my phone. To remind myself that all men, no matter how well-intentioned, know how to weaponize their incompetence.
You've told him your last straw, like you can't do it anymore. You've set him ultimatums. You've done the board theory. If you haven't seen that, look in my TikTok. You've done it all. You've done feminine energy. You've been everything. The last thing that I need you to understand and to do is that, number one, you need to understand that you don't own anybody. The only person you own and have responsibility over is yourself. So you've done everything. You've done all the maneuvers. You've become everything. The last steps is to understand you are your own person and he is his own person. He is free to make his own choices. You don't have to sell yourself to him in any kind of way. You don't have to coerce him. You don't have to make ultimatums. And I find in a lot of these relationships, and this does not apply for just a guy you're randomly dating, this applies for a long-term relationship / husband. If contempt has started, that's like eye rolling and oh, she said that again. Oh, here she goes again. There needs to be some kind of distancing. I don't necessarily mean you need to move out, to do conditions, to do all that crazy stuff, but in your soul, like in your solar plexus, you need to distance yourself from the reality that he holds the key to your happiness. You literally need to step away, stop giving him ultimatums, stop telling him what it is you want. You've told him 100 times what you want, right? You want more attention, you want more affirmation from him, you want more kindness from him, you want this, that. He's rolling his eyes, he doesn't care. The next step to do is to give that love that you're asking for from him to yourself. And it's so hard because you're like, yeah, but I need to decide what I'm going to do with this relationship. Like, am I going to be with him or not? Time will decide for you. You are going to give the love, attention, and affirmation that you've been asking for from him. You're going to go to that therapy that you're asking him to go to and he doesn't want to. You're going to do all of that. You are going to become a happy person within yourself. And one of two things will happen. Number one, you will discover that it was actually more your fault or your doing than you anticipated. That might be 10%, that might be 30%, that might be 45 or even 60. You don't know. You don't know how you're appearing in this relationship until you become a better version of yourself. A lot of women like to control, like to nag, like to do all these things, and rightfully so, because he's not doing those things. But that's not an attractive person to be with. And the whole point of a relationship is to be with a person who is equally attractive for you, you know, whole and scrumptious and amazing, like a ripe fruit. And you've become not that. You're resentful, ratty, like you're just like not it. You're not you. You've not become you, right? So by stepping away and becoming a happier version of yourself, going on that girls trip, doing whatever it is you need to do, not constantly asking him for something, but doing it for yourself, he will come lean back into you. And that's usually the case. He will say, oh my God, there she is. There's that woman that I fell in love with. And you will see that instead of asking him for these things that you've been asking for, you have shifted into your feminine energy. If you want to know more about that, look in my description box about 20 feminine energy principles. We digress. You have now become a different version that is attracting him and radiating a difference. Or option two, it is him all along. He is not for you. But one of two things has happened. He's either leaning back into you, or you are now a happier version of yourself. And now you're looking at him from a different lens. You're seeing him for who he is. You're seeing it for the reality that it is. And it's not going to be so hard to let him go because he doesn't hold your value anymore. And in fact, he will grow away from you. He'll grow apart from you. He won't even be in your vicinity of the type of person that you want to be with. So what you have to do, stop the ultimatums. Stop telling him what you need from him. He's heard you. Trust me, he's heard you. And do the therapy. Do the things that you need for yourself. because at the end of the day, he'll either catch up or he'll fall to the wayside.
The last thing a person does that makes you want to be done with them is never major. That's why they say that was the last straw, or the straw that broke the camel's back. Straws are not big. They're not heavy. That final thing is never major. The major thing probably happened before, and you spoke about it and you told them how you felt about it, and they ended up doing it again. I was in a relationship for years, and I left this person over something that was very stupid, but it was the last straw. And it was because throughout the years, I explained to you why this bothers me, and you never respected what I was saying. So now something that is not equivalent to the major issue, but it still shows that you lack respect for me. That's it. That was the final straw. I'm done with you. I can't.
When you are on your last straw with somebody that you're dating, and I mean the last straw, be sure that you don't allow another straw to break before you break yourself. And I really think about that too, because what that essentially means is that if you allow yourself to be pushed these bounds of endless despair from somebody else, you are going to begin losing yourself in the process, because you are knowing that this person is disrespecting you in all types of ways. Maybe they're cheating, maybe they're going out to the clubs, maybe they're liking all these people of the opposite sexes pictures on social media. They've been constantly disrespecting you over and over and over again, and yet here you are trying to make excuses for them about why you need to keep them around. There's no need to keep them around. It's like playing Jenga, right? It's like playing Jenga where you stack up all the blocks and you've been pushing out every little piece, and it's starting to get to that point where it's unstable, right? The tower is going to fall, right? The tower is going to literally fall, and you're gonna fall with it, because you're knowing that this person is pushing all the buttons that they possibly can with you. You know that they don't care. They seen it, they showed it, they showed arrogance, they showed animosity, they showed so much temperamental behavior towards you, letting them know that you have boundaries and that you wish to be respected.
All right, so what was the last straw in your narc relationship? For me, I went through years of getting lied to, getting cheated on, getting financially abused, physically abused, and none of that was my last straw. I grew tired of all of it, but the actual last straw that put me over the edge was me confirming which weekend he was going out of town and then getting yelled at and things thrown at me. I know a lot of times the last straw is not something huge, it's something little that finally clicks in your head. So that's how it was for me. Instead of stitching this, how about you guys drop your last straw in the comments section so the people who watch this video can read through the comments and hopefully get the push that they need. Also, please don't forget to click like on this video too, because the algorithm is trash and I want it to spread to everybody who needs to see it.
What was the actual point where you realised that your marriage was over?
I was crying and I said to him, I don't know what my life looks like in the future. Sad, but like I find him boring. My feelings for him, I knew had changed, and he pretty much, like, he didn't console me, didn't like do anything, just like laugh, if anything. In the breakdown, there was a lot of laughing moments where I got, oh, come on, like, just let's sort it out.
It's like he didn't have the capacity to
like
sort
the
of
emotional,
have
do you not understand that I'm at a point now where I'm so miserable, and all you're saying is you're laughing in my face saying, come on, let's sort it out. That's not sorting it out in my eyes. I need more from you. I need you to take me on dates. I need to know that I am loved, and I just didn't feel that.
Why did no one tell me that breaking up with someone who hasn't necessarily done anything wrong to you is literally the hardest thing in the world? Because I just broke up with my boyfriend of 5 years because I just feel like we're not on the same page anymore. And honestly, like, I would never make a video like this, but I genuinely feel like this is such a finalized decision. And I did this like maybe like almost 2 weeks ago now, but like, I just know that this is such a final decision and I'm never gonna go back, that I feel like I am safe enough to talk about it. So we've been dating for 5 years, and honestly I have nothing but good things to say about him, but obviously we had our trials and tribulations throughout the relationship, because again, we were together for 5 years. But during the 5 years that we were together, when we first started dating, we both started in the same place, so it naturally, like, I don't know, like, we were having fun. It was a lot of fun. But, like, within 5 years, I grew so much. And I don't want to say he didn't grow at all, but he just hasn't really progressed as far as I have in the 5 years that I have. And it's not because he's not capable of doing and moving fast, but it's because he doesn't apply himself to the fullest. And I just feel like, coming from an immigrant background, I just feel like I would be doing my parents such a disservice to really commit my life to someone who does not apply themselves 110%. And honestly, I sat on this decision for so long. I'm like going back and forth between, do I stay with him? Do I not? You know, like, he's still such a kind person, and like, I can see that potential, but it comes to a point that, like, when is potential not gonna be enough? How long can you rely on potential? Because eventually potential is not going to be enough. And also, I had to remind myself that someone being kind to me and being nice to me and, you know, treating me like a decent human being is the bare minimum. Like, you should be a nice human being to your partner, duh. But, like, again, like, I'm almost 30. I want more from life. Like, I want to do more. I want to start a family. Like, I want to have conversations that are not, hey, when are you gonna take your life a little bit more seriously? So it's like, it's just hard. And like, we've had these conversations so many times throughout the relationship. So it's not like it just one day I woke up and decided to walk out. No, like, I honestly tried to be as patient as possible. I have given it every single breath that I could before it got to a point where I just really became unhappy. Like, just picturing the future didn't feel very promising. Like, yeah, you're saying you can do XYZ, and then every time you do XYZ, you're doing it for 2 to 3 weeks, but there's no actual progress. That, like, it's like you're only showing out for me. It's like performative almost, in a sense. So I don't know, like, the hardest part was just like knowing that he didn't necessarily do anything wrong to me. He just doesn't have the same drive and ambition that I do. And I just had to come to the realization that, like, we grew up completely 2 separate ways. Like, you know, he was comfortable and, like, good for him. He didn't have to work and whatnot, versus me. Like, my parents could be, like, it was 5 of us, five kids. Like, I had to get it. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So for me, I feel like I need to be with someone who also has that same mindset of, like, I have to get it. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And I think, yeah, that's why I just made the decision that, like, even though it's been 5 years and I spent so much time, I would rather not spend any more time and be okay with the time that I spent. And honestly, I don't regret not a minute, an hour, a second, a day that I spent with him, because every single day I learned something that I know I'm going to be able to apply in the future. But just having to choose myself was the most important thing. Like, I'm not going into my 30s choosing other people. I'm not going to sit here and be in a situation where I know I'm not happy just because I'm almost also trying to keep that other person's feelings in mind. Like, always having that thought of, like, oh my God, what if he doesn't, you know, how is he going to handle it? What if he's distraught and whatnot? But then just remember that other people's feelings are not yours to manage. The only ones you have to manage are your own. And once I realized that, I was like, okay, I have to manage my own happiness. And if I know I'm not happy in this situation, then I have to leave. And that's what I did. So, hey.
My hands are literally shaking. I just sent the text. I just officially left my abusive relationship. I've never blocked him. I've never sent the last text. I've never been able to do it, but I did it. I stayed for years to try and make it work. But today was the last straw. And I did it. I sent the text. And now I'm probably never gonna see my dog again, but that's okay because I'm putting myself first. If you are in an emotionally abusive or a physically abusive relationship, please get out. This is day one of being on my own. I'm gonna take you on the journey.
The point of no return for women in a relationship. This is something that Lauren Kren just shared a post on Instagram that I've popped in my stories on TikTok as well, explaining what the point of no return is for women. This is where a woman's trust has been broken time after time after time after time again in the relationship with her husband, partner, the man that she's with. It's not a one-time thing. It happens over the course of the relationship. And it's where even if a woman wants to be in the relationship, her mind is saying yes, her mind is saying, I love this man, her mind is saying that I want to keep trying, her body will completely betray her, if you like. Although it's not betraying her, it's just betraying her mind. Her body will shut down. Her body will go numb. And her body will not open to him, not the way that it is, it can in a relationship anyway. And so what are these types of things that, what are the types of things that men do that will break a woman's trust in a relationship? And as I said, this is a constant thing over the course of a relationship, not a one-time thing. This can be things such as he can't be there and support her while she's experiencing emotions such as sadness or grief or frustration or anger. He can't be there. He either walks away or he gaslights her and says that her emotions aren't real, or he tells her just to stop. So she has to shut down her emotions and she can't lean back on him to support her. There's no emotional support. It might be that he says he's going to do something and then never follows through, time after time after time again. It might be that, what else is there? It might be that he criticizes her, always criticizes her. It might be that his tone is harsh when he says things and it cuts her deep within. It might be that she can't trust him with money. She can't lean back on him in regards to helping with the family, with the household, with anything like that. She just can't, because he just can't do it. He just can't. So things like that, and again, it's not a one-time thing. It's a constant thing that happens over the course of a relationship. And over time, the woman's body just shuts down and it no longer responds. And I'm speaking from experience. The woman's body will shut down and it becomes numb until she's just this walking, what would I have called myself? I was a shell of a human being. My mind was functioning, my body was not. And so this is something that I wanted to share a little bit about, because a lot of the time, when relationships end, and a lot of the time at the moment, women are ending relationships, there's not always one reason. It's not that he cheated. It's not that he did one bad thing. It's a constant letting down. It's a constant breaking of trust that can cause a woman to leave. And sometimes there aren't words to verbalize that. I had no idea what it was that caused me to say no in the end in my relationship in the past. But I knew that I couldn't be there anymore because I didn't trust him. I didn't trust him in my heart. And that's when a woman's body shuts down.
When did I know that my marriage was over? So for me, it wasn't just one moment that told me that it was over. It was a series of realizations that had kept piling up on top of each other until the truth was undeniable. I do remember the day that I stopped trying to convince myself that things would get better. Here are 8 moments that showed me that we were at the end. Number 1, it became toxic and emotionally destructive. There is a difference between a difficult relationship and a toxic and emotionally destructive marriage or relationship. By the time we reached 2023, he had moved into the basement. He had begun walking in and out of the house without
acknowledging me. Days turned into months, and it was 240 days exactly of silence and disregard and avoidance. He would walk past me like I didn't exist. Yet, to the outside world, he was acting as everything was fine. Silence can be its own form of cruelty, and I could no longer call that love. Number 2, the disrespect increased and became normal. To live under the same roof with someone who would not look you in the eye or speak to you, that is not marriage. That is just coexisting. The level of disrespect it takes to choose silence every single day for months, he had resolved in his heart to stay disconnected. And I resolved in mine not to live in that kind of emotional poverty. Number 3, I refuse to normalize dysfunction. I remember him downstairs one day laughing and talking on the phone, and I heard him say, "I don't know, I'll have to ask my wife." I sat there stunned because we hadn't spoken in almost 8 months. I realized that he was comfortable pretending to the world while I was suffocating in silence. And that is the moment that I said to myself, I will not live in dysfunction. I will not normalize dysfunction because this is not okay. Number 4, my purpose became a threat. Our 10th wedding anniversary trip from Spain to Rome. I remember sitting in the hotel room in Rome, exhausted from yet trying to have another deep conversation that led nowhere. Something in me just stopped, and I realized we are in Rome and we're doing the same thing. And I said to myself, never again will I have this conversation with this man again. On the plane home, he looked at me with disgust, saying, "You're always trying to dominate." I will never not see his face. And in that moment, it told me everything. My confidence, my calling, my strength, the very thing that God placed in me were seen as competition, not partnership. Love does not require you to shrink so that someone else can feel in control. Number 5, nothing I said or did could ever penetrate his beliefs about me. It didn't matter how gently I spoke, how patient I was, or how much I prayed. His mind was made up about who I was. And no truth, no kindness, no accountability could change that. When someone puts you into a role in their life and they expect you to play that role, they can't see you outside of that role. So when a person's perception becomes their prison, you cannot live there with them. Number 6, I refuse to die prematurely. I have worked in healthcare for over 20 years. I've watched women come in with chest pain, migraines, autoimmune diseases, and all the tests come back normal. And I have seen the real diagnosis: stress, heartbreak, and self-betrayal. I knew if I stayed, that would be me. I would be another woman dying slowly under the weight of her own silence. I chose and choose life. Number 7, I couldn't keep sacrificing my purpose to protect his comfort. To stay would have meant to continue to walk on eggshells, minimizing and shrinking myself and silencing the woman that God was calling me to become. Number 8, I knew that I had given everything that I could. I tried counseling, I prayed, fasted, forgave. I did everything that my pastor, my counselor, and community advised. I left nothing on the table. And when I had nothing left to give, I found peace because I knew that my heart was pure and my hands were clean and I had done everything that I could do. I didn't leave because I stopped loving him. I left because I started loving myself the way God intended. And peace became my confirmation that it was over.
The moment I realized I was carrying the entire emotional load in my marriage, it didn't come in some big dramatic argument. It came 7 months ago in the quiet. So I remember sitting in my room thinking something is very wrong here because I was exhausted in a way that sleep couldn't fix. So I asked my husband for space, separate rooms. Thankfully, we were able to do that. We needed a pause so we could actually see what was real, not what we were pretending to hold together. And once the silence settled, that's when it clicked. I had been carrying every emotional responsibility in this relationship, every single one. What we eat, what needs to be bought, inventory in the house, kids' schedules, schoolwork, finances, birthdays, appointments, every plan, every hard conversation, every moment of emotional maintenance. If something needed to be addressed, I was the one who brought it up. If there was a conflict, I was the one making the repair attempts. If there was depth to be created, I was the one creating it. There were nights I would come home and tell him something that happened at work, and he would just sit there, nodding silently. And I'd literally have to ask him if he had an opinion on what I just shared. Who wants to do that? Who wants to beg their partner to show up as a partner? So when we separated into our own rooms, I made one decision that changed everything. I wasn't bridging the emotional gap anymore. Not one more time. If he wanted to talk, he was going to have to come to me. If he wanted to fix anything, he would have to step forward because I had spent 16 years walking across that emotional bridge by myself. 16 years carrying conversations, problem solving, emotional repair, connection, everything. And in that silence, in that space, do you know what I got back? More silence, avoidance, sometimes even attitude. And that's when the truth hit me in the stomach. I wasn't in a partnership. I had never been. I was in an emotional labor contract I'd never signed. And I was fucking devastated. Because once you see it, there is no unseeing it. You can't go back to pretending that crumbs are connection. You can't convince yourself you're asking for too much when the reality is you've been accepting too little. But here's the part I want you to hear clearly. I'm talking to you. Once I stopped carrying his half of the relationship, I finally had the energy to carry myself. My grounding, my emotional clarity, my peace, my future. And when you stop over-functioning for someone, their under-functioning becomes impossible to ignore. And so if you're in that place where the emotional load is like crushing you and you're starting to realize you've been holding the whole damn thing together with toilet tissue and bubble gum, you're not crazy and you're not broken. You're just waking up. If you want to dive deeper into topics like these, join me in the speakeasy at the link in my bio.
One of the worst feelings to feel, I think, in this human existence is to be in a relationship where two people mutually love one another, but to love this person deeply, but know that your needs are not being met, and that no matter how much you try and translate your soul to them, they just don't get it. They are not capable of giving you what you need. And even though they love you so wholly and so deeply with all of themselves and are generous to a fault and are this beautiful person that you want to build life with, you still feel this lack, this inability to connect your soul with theirs in a way that you can only feel with another soul, and you cannot replicate that feeling or create it with someone where that feeling originally does not exist.
Story time about why I decided to leave my ex-husband. Keep in mind, before I left him, I was having all of these really gut-wrenching feelings in our apartment. I had left town for about a week and a half because I had gotten my gallbladder removed, and we were fighting, and he told me that he couldn't take care of me and all this stuff. So I was like, okay, I'm going to be with family to process everything and decide what I want to do with my life. And I literally couldn't sit up out of bed on my own, and he said that he was not going to be there to help me. So I was like, okay, I need to go get some help because come on. So the whole time that I was home with family and had left and everything, he completely ignored me. I could not get a hold of him. No matter how many times I tried to call him, text him, no response. So I was spiraling because I was like, okay, At this point, I hadn't asked for a divorce. I hadn't like officially left. I just had left because I just got my gallbladder removed, and I was spiraling. I was like, I can't even get a hold of my husband. Like, this is not okay. This is not healthy. And I start spiraling because I'm having all these gut feelings that like he's bringing a girl to our apartment, like he's cheating on me, like what is happening? I finally got a hold of him one night and he answered my FaceTime call. It was probably like a 5-minute phone call, and he probably said like 2 words the entire time. Like, he just stared at me. There was nothing in his eyes. He just was looking right through me, like would not say a word. And I was like, can you just talk to me? Can you communicate with me so that we can like figure out what's going on? Like, why are you so upset? Why, like, what is happening? He was really upset that I went home to be with family because he's like, well, I should be taking care of you. And I said, well, I don't understand because you just told me you couldn't take care of me. So I decided to go home. I was like, dude, like, what do you want from me here? When I finally realized that he was not going to talk to me, was not going to communicate with me, I just said, okay, I love you. And he just stared at me. Guys, I kid you not, he just stared at me. I'm not even exaggerating. And so I said it again. I was like, I love you. And he just stared at me. And I was like, why can't you say I love you? And he ended up just hanging up the phone. He never said I love you. So I texted him and I was like, why can't you say I love you to me anymore? Like, why is that so hard for you? And he said, I'm trying to love you, but it's just so hard. When I tell you my heart shattered into a million pieces, no woman wants to hear that, especially from their husband. And so at that point, I just basically cried myself to sleep, because I'm like, okay, I can't get my husband to talk to me whatsoever, so we can't work through this, we can't communicate. He just said that it's hard to love me. Like, what the hell am I supposed to do? I had just gotten my gallbladder removed. My health was at the worst place possible. I literally, at this point, through all of the abuse within the relationship and stuff, I had just literally lost myself, felt like a literal shell of myself, and I just was so lost. But at this point, I still didn't know if I was gonna get divorced. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I honestly think that he wanted an out, but he didn't know how to do it, which he did tell me that one time before. He said that if we ever get divorced, you're gonna have to be the one who leaves me because I don't have the guts to do it myself. Excuse me, sir? Who the hell says that? What? And when he said that, it's not even like we were talking about divorce. He just randomly was like, yeah, if we ever get divorced, you're gonna have to be the one who leaves me because I'm not gonna have the guts to do it to myself. Sir. So I truly believe at this point he was just trying to make my life so incredibly miserable so that I would leave. There was one night that I literally felt like I was just like praying to God and just kind of like wrestling with God, like, tell me what to do, like I don't know what to do. And I remember just feeling a ton of peace.
First time I mentioned divorce to my husband, he says, okay, I'll start cleaning the toilet once a month. I shit you not. I'll start cleaning the toilet. I'll start cleaning my own shit ring. Please don't divorce me. When I say the bar is in hell, I'm not even going to go into all of the things that I have tried to get my husband to participate in terms of just house maintenance, marriage and family maintenance. Because all you have to do is go through many of my posts and you can put together that picture. And I've also talked about what sustained me. Why do you stay and why did I stay so long? I've also kind of touched on that. But what I will speak about here is about effort, investment, and standards. When you pour your heart and soul into a relationship, you're just looking for some return on your investment. Really. When you do all the special things, figure out their likes and dislikes, which kind of socks they like, prefer the gold toe, and you get them from Marshall's because they're cheaper, even though you passed 4 stores to get them, or the fact that your kid might not like this particular kind of gray hoodie because they want the ones with the rib sleeve, but not the one that has the big drawstrings. Like, you make so much effort, you go above and beyond to try to get them the things that they need, the quality that they want, or the quality even that you prefer for your family, because you want excellence, or you're striving for something that looks like excellence. I mean, you keep Pinterest open because you're trying to find recipes and how many different ways can I cook this damn chicken. It's the investment that you pour into these lives, into this union, and you just keep waiting until you get to the good part for reciprocity. And when you're doing a lot of the work by yourself and you're trying to get your family to join in, or your husband to cooperate and help you out, they love to tell you that your standards are too high. Like, the standards are just too high. I can't do it like you like it. We're not talking about hospital clean in a house. Okay, maybe my unhealed trauma is talking about hospital clean. Thanks, Mom. We're just talking about simply completing a task, completing a job. The obvious stuff. Finish all the dishes. Let's not walk past the sock on the stairs 3 more days. A nice clean car. Participate in planning things. Like, these are not ridiculous aspirations. The level of incompetence is extraordinary. I was gone out of town 5 days. Left a watermelon on the counter. The watermelon was still on the counter when I got back, all puckered. And when I asked about the damn watermelon, the first thing out of my husband's mouth was, well, you. Because, well, you usually, like, we don't like watermelon unless I'm cutting it. That's the craziness. That's the craziness. There's been no major event that brought us to this place in our relationship. Nothing major. I just stopped doing. I just stopped suggesting. I just stopped making the plans, initiating other things. I just stopped. And what I found out was there was nothing happening. There was no efforts being made. There was no meeting in the middle, no great epiphany. I stopped talking, and then the assumption immediately was, well, I must be mad. No, I'm tired of carrying conversations by myself. And I wanted to see what would happen. And I found out what happens is nothing happens. Nothing happens. Now, early on, we share same core values. I just didn't realize that he had no intentions of implementing them. That was up to me. His whole plan was to ride shotgun. That's where that I just go with the flow comes from.
The moment I knew my marriage was over wasn't when he yelled. It was when he was silent. It happened last night. It feels like a lifetime ago now. I'm still processing it all.
Around 2 a.m, my son started crying. It wasn't his normal cry. It was different.
I went into his room and he was burning up, just radiating heat. I knew it was a high fever.
The thermometer read 104. My heart just stopped for a second. That's a scary number for a child.
So my first instinct was to wake up my husband, my partner, the father of my child. I went to our room and I shook his shoulder. I said, David, wake up. Something is wrong with Liam. He opened his eyes, barely. He just mumbled something and then rolled over, pulling the covers over his head.
I tried again, louder this time. I said, David, I am serious. His fever is 104. We need to go. And I will never forget what he said next. He didn't even sit up. He just talked into his pillow.
He said, just give him some Tylenol. I have that big presentation in the morning. I need my sleep. His presentation, that's what he was thinking about. Not our son, not me. A presentation at work.
In that moment, something inside me, it just went cold. It was like a switch flipped.
I didn't argue. I didn't cry. I didn't say another word to him. I just turned around.
I got my son dressed. I packed a bag. I made sure he was secure in his car seat.
And I drove him to the emergency room myself. In the middle of the night, alone. We were there for 5 hours. Just me and my son. He never called. He never even sent a text. I told my son while the doctors checked him. I filled out all the paperwork. I answered every question.
It turned out to be a really bad flu. They were worried his fever was spiking too high, so they had to monitor him. And the whole time, I felt this strange calm. I wasn't panicked anymore because I was doing what needed to be done.
I realized in that waiting room, under the fluorescent lights, that I'd been doing it all alone for years. My husband wasn't a partner. He was just another responsibility, another person I had to manage.
We finally got home around 7 this morning, just as the sun was coming up. My son was asleep in his car seat.
And my husband was in the kitchen making coffee. He was already dressed for work in a crisp ironed shirt. He looked up, smiled, and asked, "Hey, how'd you guys sleep?" Like nothing had happened. He genuinely seemed to have no idea that we were even gone all night. He just slept through it all. I didn't say anything at first. I just carried my son inside and put him into his bed. Then I came back to the kitchen. He was stirring sugar into his coffee, looking at his phone. I stood there for a moment and I just said, "We were at the hospital all night." He finally looked up from his phone, a little confused. "Hospital? Why? Is everything okay?" And that was it, that question. Is everything okay? He had no clue. It wasn't even on his radar. Looked at him over his perfect coffee, in his perfect shirt, ready for his important day. And I said, "No, nothing is okay. I am the only one managing this household, and I just haven't filed the paperwork yet." The look on his face, it was pure shock, as if the thought had never occurred to him. He started to panic, of course. "What are you talking about? Don't be dramatic." All the usual things. But I wasn't being dramatic. I had never been more clear about anything in my entire life. I told him, "You get to go have your important day at work. You have a great presentation." And I said, "And while you do that, I'm going to find a lawyer. And I am going to rest. Because I've been awake all night, taking care of our family, while you slept."
He just stood there, his coffee cup halfway to his mouth, utterly lost, because his perfect, easy life was crumbling.
And I didn't feel sad. I didn't feel angry. I just felt relief, so much relief.
Because the hardest part of my life was trying to pretend I had a partner. Now, I don't have to pretend. I'm still exhausted. I haven't slept. My son is finally resting now, which is good. But it's a different kind of tired. It's the tired you feel after you've won a long battle. And for the first time in a very long time, I know that we're both going to be okay.
So I would love to share with you guys a little example of kind of what I'm dealing with almost on a daily basis with my husband. Our girls, we have 2 daughters, they are a part of a cheerleading team, and they had a competition this weekend. My husband and I were in the audience waiting for them to perform. The competition was running behind, as in people who are part of cheer know that happens. So I was trying to make small talk with my husband to try to pass the time while we were sitting there. I made an observation about a young woman who was maneuvering through the crowd of people in the audience with a stroller and a toddler. And I had said, wow, I don't miss those days when I had to try to get through people and go places, run errands with a baby in the stroller and a toddler. It's really hard to do, and I really don't miss those days. My husband says to me, well, that's because you are a cranky person. I was like, what? And he says, yeah, you're saying something, you're looking at it negatively right now because now you're a cranky person. And back then you weren't cranky. And I'm looking at him and he's smiling, smirking at me as he's saying it. And then I started trying to explain myself by saying that, no, it's just that I was just actually sympathizing with her because I know how hard it is to try to get around with a baby in a stroller and a toddler, and it's not easy, and I don't miss those days, because our kids are a lot older now. And he was like, no, it's just that you're cranky and you're always in a bad mood. That's why you're saying that. Now, you might think saying I'm cranky is a pretty innocuous thing to say. He wasn't calling me a name or yelling at me or being outwardly mean, but he was critiquing me as a person just because I made an observation. That happens all the time, where I will make a statement, have an opinion, make an observation, even, it doesn't matter, talk about how I feel, and somehow his response is a critique of me as a person, a negative critique about me as a person, about my character, and a lot of times I'm thrown, because that's not the topic of the conversation, but it always comes back to his response is, well, there's something wrong with you. That's why you have that opinion. That's why you're making this statement. That's why you're having this observation, because there's something wrong with you. it's like 1,000 cuts. It's 1,000 cuts. It just drives you mad.
Am I the asshole? My husband has ruined my birthday 2 years in a row, and this was the last straw in our marriage. We shall see. My husband, 29, and I, 32, have been married for 8 years. Damn. So you got married when you was, what, 24? I mean, each his own. But 24, I was in the streets at 24. Anyway, we have 4 boys, ages 4 and under, so life is extremely busy. Ooh, we had to say a prayer for you. 4 and under? 4 boys? Child, your body didn't even get a chance to heal before you got into another one. 4? Ooh, God's creatures. I'm a stay-at-home mom who babysits other children for money. Is in school full-time. My husband works 7 to 1. Oh, he had a nice schedule. Monday to Friday, and does nothing to help around the house and spends little to no time with our boys. Once again, they love the thought of having kids, but to actually do any work to take care and raise these kids and rear these kids, absolutely nothing. Oh, I have sons. When's the next doctor's appointment? Did you help your son learn how to tie his shoes? Do you help him brush his teeth in the morning? Do you make breakfast? Nothing. Trust me. Ooh, that's what, Lord. Thank you for my husband. Thank you for my husband. Thank you for my husband. I thank his mama and daddy for raising an amazing man, because y'all be going through it. 4 under 4 and in school, and he don't do nothing but besides bring in a couple dollars. Okay. You like it, I love it. I take care of our boys, the house, and everything in between while in school, so my downtime is little to none. Well, last year, my husband completely forgot my birthday, and I had to tell him at 3 p.m. he forgot my birthday, and I got a pity dinner that was crap because the kids were just screaming the whole time while he sat there, enjoyed his meal, and left me to the mess. Well, today is my birthday, and all I asked was for a break. I didn't even want to go out to dinner because then I knew it was going to just be me trying to keep them chill and quiet while out. Yeah, you're going to have 4 rowdy, baby crying. Ugh, my goodness. So instead, I asked for a break to order dinner in, so I had literally nothing to do. Well, he gets off work, comes home, and just goes to sleep. He works 7 to 1. He doesn't even work a full 8-hour day, Monday through Friday, 7 to 1. And he tired from? Is he doing backflips all day between 7 to 1 that he come home and go to sleep? And he does nothing. He's not even working a 7 to 5, a 7 to 4, none of that. He's working 7 to 1. Oh, my rage would be through the roof. So instead, I asked for a break to order dinner and I had literally nothing to do. Well, he gets off work, comes home, and just goes to sleep. Left me to deal with the kids. On top of that, I still had to do our budget just to see if I could afford dinner to grab food. I ended up just making the boys dinner and that's it. So then he calls me petty and a child because I didn't make him food. Oh my gosh. What's that old time song? I feel like, was it 3LW? Feeling unappreciated. Go ahead. You're taking my love. That, woo. All you asked for was for a break. He came and worked, got up and went to work. He didn't do nothing but got up, got himself ready, went to work from 7 to 1, came back and went to sleep. And all you asked was for a break. And because you didn't make him any food, now you're petty and you're a child. I also refuse to talk to him, and I'm done giving in to talking it out because he's never wrong. Our marriage is already shitty with infidelity. He belittles me, and the way he treats me is honestly terrible. But I'm trying to at least stick it out until I have a degree and can support my boys. But I don't know how much longer I can take anymore being treated this way. But am I the asshole for making this being the last straw? No, you're not. But I see you have your mind on the right track because you're not making any income. Yes. Even though it's hard, but suck it up. You're in it for the long game. Short-term, long game. Until you finish your degree, you can make the money to support yourself and your boys, and then you can make your move. Because if you make your move right now, you're going to put yourself back, and then you're going to have to start from a place. So if you can find it in yourself to pray and get your emotions in check and just thug it out for another year or 2 years if possible, because you got 4 boys under 4, which means none of them are in school yet. None of them are in school. So you got to do you basically running around with 4 babies all day. And he's coming home and go to sleep. And all you asked was for a break on your birthday. I would be feral. I would be so upset. But the fact that you married young and you are with somebody who does not like you, who does not care for you. You also say that he belittles you and just infidelity. When you up and get your stuff in order, and when you up and pack up, and when you go deuces, you have it in order in such a place, he'll be even more pissed at the fact that you will never need him for anything ever again. Pack it up, leave, put his ass on child support. He gonna be miserable and bitter. Ain't gonna be doing much from what he doing already now if he already belittling you and talking down to you as it is and treating you like shit. Get your stuff in order.
So today marks 1 year from the absolute hardest day of my life. And that's not even the day I filed for divorce or the day I found out about the affair, but it was the day, August 23rd, 2024, where the love of my life, my absolute best friend, my soulmate, randomly told me that he was no longer in love. He looked at me and says, "I think something's wrong with me. I should be in love with you, but I'm not, and I can't tell you why. I have no idea why. I woke up one day and I just wasn't in love." And I immediately said, "You must be cheating." And he said, "Nope." And he swore on our toddler's life, on our 1.5-year-old, and said, "No, I'm not cheating. I swear." And so I proceeded to cry for the next 3 days. I was actually in Washington visiting him on deployment after not having seen him for, a couple weeks. He had been gone 3 months, but I had visited him recently with our daughter. I remember him picking me up from the airport and not even getting out of the car to help me with my luggage. And I remember thinking, that's so weird. Even my Uber drivers get out of their car and help me with my luggage. So the trip was off to a weird start. He seemed cold, but I never thought it would lead to today, a year later, divorced. That day, I knew my marriage would never be the same ever again. I actually had a panic attack at dinner that night. We went to a Michelin star restaurant, and I had such a panic attack in the bathroom. I literally took off my strapless bra, and if you're a female, you know what that feels like sometimes. I've never seen my face so swollen from crying. And all I had was this cold man next to me. I never saw one piece of sadness. He saw the mother of his child completely break down. He's never seen me cry like that, and he was not fazed. It was actually very scary, and I knew we would never come back from that day, but we tried. We actually started couples therapy 48 hours later. We tried, and if you see my other videos, you know what comes from here. But August 23rd, 2024 will always be the saddest day for me, knowing that was the last day my marriage was the same. So I grieve the future. I grieve the past. I grieve the fact that we were supposed to start trying to get pregnant in that season of life. I grieve it all. But I'm also so grateful for my strength because of my daughter. This year has been the hardest year of all 33 years of my life. And there's just so many triggers with these next anniversaries. My wedding anniversary, the anniversary of finding out about the affairs, the anniversary of asking for the divorce, but I know there will only ever be the first for all of those, and the second and the third will be easier. But August 23rd is a hard one for me.
Hey, so ladies, please tell me, what was the last straw in your relationship or your marriage? Hey, I don't know whether I can remember what the last straw was for me, but for me, like I said in the previous video, for me, my last straw in my past relationship was the lack of consideration, the lack of emotion, especially seeing your partner really hurt. You know, there are things you can come up with, but seeing the way your partner is hurt, especially repeatedly, will make you not do that thing again. But in that situation, that man enjoyed torturing me emotionally, mentally, like physically, like, oh my God, it was a nightmare. It was like I was almost dying. I felt like I was almost dying. Like, I thank God I came out from that situation and built this community, because I was like, whatever I've gone through, I cannot be silenced. I have to speak it up. I have to get the message out there, and I have to share this message together with multiple other perspectives. Like, it's not only my perspective. It's important to watch these videos because they give you multiple perspectives of the same thing. Anyway, ladies, what was your last straw in your marriage? Me, myself, or your relationship? I've enjoyed this video so much. I've learned a lot by the I've really learned a lot. Especially what is so annoying is dealing with a man who seems to be easygoing, who seems to be silent and kind. Those kind of men are the worst when it comes to abusing you. They're the worst. You'd rather know this man is angry, and then after he's angry, he's just okay. Like, than these men who pretend to be calm, but in reality, they are not calm. They're very destabilized, and they can't wait to show you who they really are. Hey, the moment you'll have issues in that relationship, that's when you'll know who he really is. And by the way, it's raining. I don't know whether you can hear the background noise. I hope you cannot, but I'll continue talking. Oh my God, ladies, it's a struggle. It's a struggle. So let me know in the comment section down below, what was your last straw in that relationship? What was it? And it takes that last straw to start healing and to move on and to get out of that situation. So the last straw isn't so bad after all. Anyway, share your opinions down in the comment section down below, and I'll be happy to engage with you. Bye.